What's up, YouTube? In today's video, we're talking about the Toronto Raptors and previewing their off-season. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, let me know what you think the Raptors should do in July as we are entering free agency. With that said, let's just jump right into the video. Okay, so let's throw this up. The Raptors have a few players here that are free agents for them. David Johnson, Justin Champagny, restricted free agents. We won't talk too much about them. Delano Banton has a non-guaranteed deal that will need to be settled. But focusing on the unrestricted free agents here, Thaddeus Young, Chris Boucher, Yuta Watanabe, and Isaac Bonga. So I know a lot of people love Utah. Watanabe is like just a kind of a NBA Twitter kind of a guy. He's played very, very small minutes in the league, but people love his effort. So what do they want to do there? Thaddeus Young, what do they want to do there? Boucher, do they want to bring him back? He was kind of I don't think the Raptors are too sold on Boucher at all. So I don't, even though I think his kind of the idea of Boucher and what he could be probably is a lot better than what he actually is. So we'll see what happens there. Extension eligible players. This is really important to understand. Just again, the importance of signing a player and having him be extended, or do you move him? And so these players are extension eligible. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Svi Mikhailuk, and Delano Banton. So I think the talks of Fred VanVleet being like a potential trade candidate aren't a lot right now. Is there a way that they, kind of move forward in this way where they could potentially have Scotty Barnes be their point guard of the future? I know it sounds insane and crazy, but this team really loves the whole versatility and length combination that players can provide. And, whether it's Siakam, Anunoby, Precious Chichua, they like these guys to be able to do a lot of different things, have a great wingspan. And VanVleet doesn't necessarily fit the wingspan mold. So I wonder if you wonder, just exactly Fred VanVleet, is he a dude who you want to keep long term? I think he had a great season this year. But he is also he's also 28 years old. So he's kind of in that awkward age group where it's we signed him for 4 years. We're signing a guy who's 6 foot and will be 32 at the end of the year. We don't want to create a Mike Conley situation that Utah's been in. But we also feel like we can still win. So that will be interesting to see. Does that get dealt with immediately as we go into the July off season? Or is it something that's a little prolonged? And are we going to hear rumors of VanVleet being in potential trades? The other guys, I like Gary Trent. I think his money is a little bit high. Let's throw that up here for the cap sheet for the Toronto Raptors. Gary Trent making $17 million, probably a little bit higher than I would kind of like. But ultimately, I do really think that he's a good player. And improved a little bit defensively, I guess you could say. His steal rate at least went up this year, so you kind of like that. And I would try to keep him for the most part, but we shall see what they do on their end. Other kind of notes that I have here, I think while I do like Trent, he is also a guy who I think could be moved. His salary is kind of large enough to absorb maybe a bigger contract if you're trying to go big fish hunting with maybe a Rudy Gobert or any other type of player like that. So Gary Trent would make sense there. Kem Birch as well. What I think this team ultimately needs is just kind of an offensive center. I think that even just them as a whole, the Raptors team as a unit, very good defensively. I think they're just going to get better next year with Scotty Barnes having another year under his belt and Anunoby coming back from full health. Now, there are potential moves with OG that could be made, so we'll see exactly what happens there. But ultimately, I think that they just need a center. They have their kind of core guys, and if they could get a center, I think that would be really great. They did draft Christian Koloko this year out of Arizona, so we'll exactly see what that is. I don't know. That might be just a project for them more than anything else, but that's where the Raptors stand as of right now. Gary Trent trade. We already mentioned that. The team should really be the same for the most part. And I ultimately think that they'll be fine. So this team is good. I think if you can add this center, it could really do you some good. Other names that they've been in the mix for have been Malik Monk. Obviously, we mentioned Rudy Gobert, but they've also been rumored for DeLon Wright as well. So a couple names to be on the lookout for Toronto. They don't have a whole lot of cap space this upcoming offseason, so we'll see what they do extending Fred VanVleet. Do they want to bring Thad Young, Chris Boucher, Watanabe back? Like, we'll just kind of have to see there. Nothing too flashy from Toronto other than if they decide to ultimately move OG Anunoby and potentially land Rudy Gobert or somebody else. So we'll see what happens there. Quick video for the Raptors. Not much to go on for them. But let me know what you feel like in the offseason or in the comment section. What should the Raptors do in the offseason? Is there a player that you want them to acquire? Is there a free agent that you want them to go try to see if they can sign? Let me know in the comment section. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, catch the other 29 NBA team offseason previews that I'm doing, and we'll see you in the next one.